What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the JDW SportsTalkShow, where every fan is welcome. We're officially ready to rock and roll for our NFL Week 9 picks, predictions, insights, and give you my insights into every NFL game this weekend. We're starting off in Frankfurt, Germany, with the Miami Dolphins and the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a matchup that I think is a bit difficult to predict. They're both very good football teams. One has a really good defense. One has a really good offense. One has struggled against, good teams in the NFL, and the other has done okay. The other has been, somewhat consistent throughout the year in the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are a very different football team than what we're used to seeing. They like to play good defense. This year so far, they've played really good defense. The offense has struggled because they still have struggled to find that guy to step up other than Travis Kelce. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, and that's not up for debate. We all know this. And it's not Patrick Mahomes that is wrong with the Chiefs. It's, the weapons, who's going to step up consistently, who could step up and make that big play. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a guy to do that this year, and we're clearly seeing there's only so much a quarterback can do. He has one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. He's running the football a lot more than he usually does. He's got one of the best tight ends in the league. He's got a good running game, but you just cannot get the passing game going, and that's something that is going to have to be figured out versus the Dolphins here this weekend. If you don't, I don't care how good your defense is. If you don't score over 25 points, or 28 points, you're probably not going to beat the Miami Dolphins, even though I have them scoring 27 here. I would like to point out the Dolphins have struggled against good opponents, have struggled against opponents with winning records. The combined record of the teams that they played is absolutely abysmal. So, they played the Bills, they struggled. They played the Eagles, they struggled. Now they're playing the Chiefs, another very good defensive team. They have good offense. It's just, is the Bills' offense better than the Chiefs at this moment? Absolutely. But we've seen when the Dolphins, especially this defense, when they play a much higher respected opponent, they tend to struggle. And I think that's going to be the difference in this game. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to make that game-winning drive. Now, this could be a much higher scoring game than I have it right here, but the Chiefs have a really good defense, and their offense has not been great. So I'm expecting that to keep the score a little lower than a lot of people are expecting. But nonetheless, it will be a phenomenal game this weekend in Germany, and I think the Chiefs will be able to get the run game going, and then that'll open up the passing game a little bit. But don't forget, the Dolphins still have Jalen Ramsey, and they got him back recently, and their defensive line, they're struggling to get pressure. If you're not going to get pressure on Mahomes, it could be a long day. But I think that's going to be a difference in this game. The Chiefs will be able to get pressure on Tua. Yeah, they do have some incredible weapons, but the Dolphins aren't going to be able to attack the Chiefs quarterback, and the Chiefs are going to be able to attack the Dolphins quarterback. And I think that is a recipe for a Chiefs win this weekend in Frankfurt, Germany, over the Miami Dolphins with the 31-27 final score prediction. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons and the Minnesota Vikings. So this is another matchup. You look at on the surface, and you're like, damn, this is a tough game to predict. But by the score I have here, it is a very tough game to predict. But I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons because the Vikings cannot stop the run game, and the Falcons can run the ball at a very effective rate. They have Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson. They have a really good run game. It's very well coached with Arthur Smith as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. If the Vikings cannot stop the run, it would be a long day for this Vikings team. Although this Vikings team has been better all around, and they did trade for Joshua Dobbs. You do have Jaren Hall, and you don't really have tape on either of these guys or the offense that they're going to be playing in, because they're going to play a little different than Kirk Cousins. Every quarterback plays a little different. Now, if Kirk Cousins was playing this game, I would 100% take the Vikings. Maybe not 100%, but it would still be, I think I would swing the Vikings' way. But considering you don't have one of the best quarterbacks in the league, which, I would say he would be an MVP candidate up to this point. But unfortunately, he's hurt, so it's next man up. And unfortunately, it's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And, the Vikings are looking pretty good. The team in general is looking better. But this Vikings offensive line is one of the better ones in the league, and they'll be able to make room for, what I believe is going to be Jaren Hall this weekend. So they'll be able to give, Jaren Hall some time, and Justin Jefferson, I don't think he's back this week, but you still have Jordan Addison. KJ Osborne has been very reliable. TJ Hawkinson is a nice big target. If you get that run game going, that would be a huge help, especially if you have Joshua Dobbs. Maybe you throw Joshua Dobbs in there a couple plays, since they're not starting him, and maybe run some QB options with him and try to get that, try and spark that run game. But I don't think it's going to be enough. I think the Falcons offense has they're benching Desmond Ridder, which I think is a phenomenal move. Desmond Ridder has not played good. He's not a very good quarterback. So I think it was a very smart move to bench Desmond Ridder. And I think Tyler Heineke is going to give them a better chance to win every Sunday than Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder, horrible decision making, too many turnovers, fumbles, interceptions. It was pretty pathetic. And it was about time. I think Tyler Heineke will be able to do much more with this football team. Now, am I saying he's going to go ahead and the Falcons are going to run the table and win the rest of the season? Absolutely not. I'm just saying that I think Tyler Heineke is a more complete quarterback than Desmond Ridder. He's better mentally in terms of knowing the game. He's got more experience. And he can move a little bit. I like Tyler Heineke, and I like him more than Desmond Ridder. And you look at the offense you're providing him. I think Tyler Heineke can thrive to a certain point, and the Vikings aren't going to be able to to edge out the Falcons because of that. Now, both offenses, there's no tape on either offense with the quarterback options that will be displayed this weekend, but I still think the Atlanta Falcons have more. I think they have a little more in terms of running the football. They're going to be able to control the game, control the clock, and I think that's going to be the difference in this game. So I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons 23-20 over the Minnesota Vikings. Next up, another matchup of the weekend that we're going through. You have the Cleveland Browns and the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is another tough one, but I do think the Cleveland Browns will come out with the win in this one. Their defense is still very good. It is an elite defense. It's one of the best in the league. Although the last couple weeks they've been reeling, but that defense is very good. Though they're gonna get it going again this weekend. They're playing Clayton Tune. The big disadvantage you have there is you don't have any tape on Clayton Tune in that offense, so that's something to keep an eye on there. And that's why I have the Cardinals actually scoring more points than I probably would have anyways. I probably would have the Cardinals scoring 10 minus points, 10 or less points than they have now, or just 10 points in general or less, because the Browns have one of the better defenses. They're going to get after the quarterback, Clayton Tune, who it will be. They're going to be able to shore up these receivers. They're going to be able to watch the linebackers. They have good safeties. It's a tough matchup for the Arizona Cardinals, and the Browns like to run the football, and they will be able to run the football on the Cardinals. So I think the Browns are really going to take this one, and I'm pretty confident with this one, even though I have the score being pretty close. I think this is one of those games where the Browns are, it's going to be a defensive game, as almost every game the Browns is in. The Browns are in, but I do think that the Browns will edge the Cardinals out 20-17. Like I said, the Cardinals do have a shot, especially since any team has a shot really, but any given Sunday. But I think the best thing that the Cardinals have going for them is that there's no film out on Clayton Tune in this offense yet, and that could be that could spell a tough day for the Cleveland Browns. But they don't have Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think that's a big loss. They do have Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore. Excuse me. A little yawning. That's probably what you'd be doing during this game if you're not a fan of either team, to be honest with you. But, I'm taking the Cleveland Browns 20-17 over the Arizona Cardinals this weekend. I think the Browns have a little more oof. They're just a better football team in general. Next up, you have the Green Bay Packers and the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Rams are just overall the better football team. I don't think that's really saying much. The Packers are one of the worst, if not the worst team in the NFL. Jordan Love isn't playing good. He can't make good decisions. He can't be accurate. He's overthrowing 4 or 5 passes a game. It's pretty bad. And if you can't get the run game going, this offense will do nothing. And you're playing a middle of the road defense. You're playing a really good Aaron Donald on the defensive line. You're playing Byron Young. They have some guys on that defensive line that are going to make plays. Byron Young has been a very good pass rusher so far this year too. So keep an eye out for him. But I just think that the Rams have a little more on offense, and that's why they're going to win. And the Packers defense, there's only so much that they can do. I think it's a decent defense. They have a decent secondary. They have a decent defensive line. They do struggle against the run whatsoever. But I think that the Rams just have a little more offensively. I think they have a little more defensively. They're going to be able to run the ball. They're going to be able to pass the ball just because, Packers, and the Rams' offensive line is not very good. So if the Packers can get a lot of pressure on Matthew Stafford, and, if Matthew Stafford plays, even if Matthew Stafford doesn't play, I think I still have confidence in the Rams winning this one. But, they have a lot of weapons, and, if Matthew Stafford does play, he won't be at 100%, but I still think it's going to be more than enough to beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. I just, I don't see much for the Packers right now. The offensive line is horrible. Jordan Love is horrible. They can't run the ball well because of how bad the offensive line is. You can't control the game at all. And then your defense gets so tired, they're not going to be able to keep up. They're not going to be able to get the job done this game. So I'm taking the Los Angeles Rams 23-17 over the Green Bay Packers. Next up, you have the Washington Commanders and the New England Patriots. Now, this is a tough one. I could see this one going either way. The Commanders have not been playing pretty good. Their defense has been pretty horrible. One of the worst in the league, if not the worst. Although, they did just put up a good fight against the Eagles. That doesn't mean much. It is a divisional game. Which, those games are typically closer. You really know your opponent better and such. But the Commanders did trade away two of their best edge rushers, which was very questionable. My decision, that was in the trade deadline video. I graded both of the trades. Was not happy with one of them. I was really happy with the other. But without those edge rushers, it could be an even tougher of a matchup for the Commanders because they might not be able to get as much pressure on Mac Jones. And, the issue with the Patriots, though, is it doesn't really matter who they're playing. Their offense sucks. They have, they don't have any receivers. Devontae Parker has sucked this season. Juju Smith-Schuster has sucked this season for them. They can't get anything going. They can't get anyone going. Mac Jones hasn't played great. Their offensive line isn't great. They can't get the run game going. The offense is pretty horrible. And considering they're playing a team that just gave rid of two of their best edge rushers, I think they have a pretty good shot to win this one. And I might end up changing this one. I'm not sure yet. But currently, I'm sticking with the Commanders because they have a lot more offensively. But the Patriots, they're getting healthy on the defense line. They're going to get after Sam Howell, and they could make it a difficult day. But I don't think they really have the talent necessary to keep up with this Commanders with their weapons, Terry McLaurin, Josh Dot. I like Dotson. Josh Dotson. No, it doesn't sound right. No, it's Jahan Dotson. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with him and get the job done there. And Sam Howell, I like Sam Howell. I think he's a very good quarterback. Oh, and then you have Curtis Samuel, and you have some good running backs. I'm taking pure offense, what they have offensively, even though it's not a great match. I'm taking the offense over the Patriots offense. I think that's going to be a difference in this game. Both defenses aren't very good. So I'm taking the Commanders 24-20 over the Patriots. Next up, you have the New Orleans Saints against the Chicago Bears. Maybe I had this game a little closer than a lot of people would think, but the Bears have been a decent football team. I like Matt Eberflus. I think a lot of people are really shooting on Matt Eberflus way too much in the GM. I think, even though they did make a very questionable trade on Montez Sweat, are you really in, the position to trade for a guy, you're not really in the position to go and win a chip. You're not really in a position to even go and make the playoffs. Are you just trying to get a young player on the team, maybe sign him? But, you're going to have a lot of picks this upcoming draft, so why not invest into one there where you're going to have him on a rookie deal? He's going to be cheaper, and then Montez Sweat on top of that has injury issues, so very questionable trade in my opinion, but that is going to help them this weekend versus the Saints offensive line that has been inconsistent. They did a very good job versus the Colts last week. They kind of had an offensive explosion, and I can see this offense having another one against another very poor defense. But I do think that the Bears have some talent on defense and do have some players. They have Jalen Johnson. Tyreek Stevenson has been on and off, been okay with him. The defensive line, Montez Sweat is a big addition. That could be a big move. And Tyson Bagent, I like Tyson Bagent. I like what he has, but you're playing a very good Saints. It's a good Saints defense. I don't think it's a great defense. Their defense line is inconsistent. Their linebackers are pretty good. Their secondary is pretty good. But other than that, the Saints defense is a bit inconsistent. I think the Bears are going to keep it close. I think Tyson Bagent is going to, I think he's going to have one of those games where he's going to look really good. He's got some good weapons, DJ Moore, Daniel Mooney, Cole Kmet. But in the end, it's not going to be enough because Derek Carr and that offense is too good. They have a lot of good weapons. Chris Olave had a really bad drop that last week. That won't happen again. Derek Carr just has to continue to get better with his footwork. That's one thing I noticed with Derek Carr. He has some really bad footwork. Sometimes when he's throwing a deep pass, he doesn't really trust it. He takes, when you're dropping back, he'll drop back 3, 4, or 5 steps, and then he'll take, you're supposed to take one step forward, I guess you could call it, a hitch, if you know what I'm talking about. Derek Carr tends to take 2, 3 hitches, and he gets himself in trouble because he throws the ball late. If he throws the ball earlier on a lot of those deep routes, the Saints could have a lot more points throughout the season and can be a much better football team. He's got to get that timing on. He's got to get that timing right, and that's a product of bad footwork. So hopefully he can get that figured out. But the New Orleans Saints beating the Chicago Bears 27-23 is my prediction for this football game. I think the Saints, they're going to get the run game going. Alvin Kamara will have a day. Michael Thomas did not look good last week, but they have weapons on offense. That Saints offense should be able to get the job done versus a very poor Bears defense. All right, up next, we have the Baltimore Ravens and the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Ravens will have a pretty solid day against the Seahawks here. The defense should play well. The Seahawks have lots of teams that they shouldn't have, but the Seahawks are actually a very good football team. I don't know why no one is talking about the Seahawks. They are actually a very good football team. They've been very impressive. They just traded for Leonard Williams. That defense is elite. They have great defense. The defense is getting better every single week. The offense, on the other hand, they have their good weeks, they have their bad weeks, and they really need to improve in the red zone offense if they're going to want to really make a run at this thing late in the season. And if they get that figured out, I could see them putting themselves up in the tier with the Lions, maybe the Eagles, if they get the offense going like it did last year with Geno Smith. The Seahawks team can be a spoiler team. They can be very good. They like to run the football. They could run the football. The offensive line is getting better. There's a lot to like about the Seahawks team, but it's not going to be enough versus the Ravens. They're going to do a lot of disguises. They're going to blitz Geno Smith a lot. And, the Seahawks do have some really good weapons, and they could get open. But I think Lamar Jackson and, that Ravens red zone offense is going to be a difference in that game. The Seahawks have really struggled in the red zone. And, I think that's going to be a big difference in this game. If you're going to kick field goals, that's okay. But you're not going to win football games if you're going to kick field goals. That's kind of just how it goes, but I'm having the Saints winning this game by a touchdown. I think Lamar Jackson, they're going to be able to run the ball. And no, it might be a tough game run the ball, but I think Lamar Jackson is a good test for them to see how they do against a really, a quarterback that can really move like him. Ravens defense, they have a decent secondary. They're going to play man. They're going to make it difficult on Geno Smith all day long, and I would expect the Ravens to get a turnover or two. So I'm taking the Ravens 27-20 over the Seattle Seahawks. Next up, Houston Texans and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I really wanted to take the Texans in this one because, I think they have the better offense. I think they have the better offense and a better quarterback play by far so far this season. The issue with taking the Texans is, we kind of just saw what happened last week versus the Carolina Panthers. This offense is inconsistent. We saw that C.J. Stroud is still a rookie quarterback, and he's going to have weeks where he struggles. Now, this is kind of a similar matchup versus the Bucs, and kind of like how it was versus the Steelers. But I think the Bucs do have a better defense, a better overall defense, if you will. But yeah, I think the Buccaneers defense is going to be able to make the extra play and win that football game. Now, I do really like C.J. Stroud. I like the weapons, but I think this is going to be another learning experience for this Houston Texans team. Now, the Bucs have a very good defense, a very underrated defense, and Baker Mayfield will make plays on big-time moments. He will, and the Bucs just played the Bills really tough. It came down to the last play. There were, a couple, Chris Godwin was a couple yards away from catching a Hail Mary to winning the football game. So I think the Bucs are going to come out. They have some of that extra rest. They have. I think the Bucs are going to have a good week this week. I think they're going to do just enough. A game-winning field goal, probably it will be. Taking the Buccaneers 17-14 over the Houston Texans. All right, next up on the slate, we have the Indianapolis Colts and the Carolina Panthers. All right, so I'm back. I screwed up that graphic. I do have the Indianapolis Colts winning this game over the Carolina Panthers. Final prediction right here. I kind of screwed up the graphic a little bit. I mixed it with another one by accident, but yeah, I think the Indianapolis Colts are going to be able to run the football. They're going to be able to pound the football against the Carolina Panthers and do a damn good job of it. The Panthers are not good at stopping the run. They really struggle, and a team that really struggles to run the football. Really, the Vikings ran all over them when the Vikings played them, and now the Colts, you're playing a very good offensive line. You're playing one of the better running back duos in the league. Now, the way I could see the Colts losing this football game is if they turn the ball over a lot and Bryce Young is on the ball. If Bryce Young is on the ball, you have Jonathan Mingo, you have Adam Thielen, you have some really good receivers on the other side of the field. It could be a long day for this Colts defense. It really could be. Maybe the Panthers will be able to get to running the football a little bit, even though the interior of the offensive line is not very good. So that's a good sign considering we don't have Robert Stewart this week once again. He was suspended for 6 games. He's almost halfway done with the suspension. But good news is this week we're not playing a team that is really great at running the football. They could run the football. I like Chuba Hubbard. I think he's a good running back, but he's not going to be able to get the job done against the Colts enough. But I could see, if Gardner Minshew has one of those games where he's turning the ball over every game, or if he turns the ball over more than 2 times, 2 or more times, I could see the Panthers winning this football game just because of how bad that Colts defense is and how many points they could maybe let up. This could be a big game for Bryce Young. This could be a big game for this Carolina Panthers. It could kind of be that breakout game, if you will, because the Colts offense, or the Colts defense is not very good. If this Colts defensive line can pressure them all day long, then it could be a pretty good day for this Colts defense. It could really, really help, and we'll see if Julius Brents will be back. But I think this game, I think it could be a pretty close game. I think it could be high scoring, but I will take the team that can control the game, that can control the clock a little bit more. Coaching is much better. Frank Reich and Shane Steichen going at it here. So I'm taking the Indianapolis Colts 27-24 of the Carolina Panthers. I think, the offense is going to be able to get enough done. They're going to be able to pound the football down the Carolina Panthers' throats. It could be a long day for, that Panthers defense in terms of run defense, and can really keep that Panthers offense off the field to keep them out of rhythm maybe. But, yeah, I'm taking the Colts 27-24 of the Carolina Panthers. Much better coach team, much better, run game. Could maybe get after Bryce Young, but we'll see. All right, next up, I have a surprising one. I think a lot of people are like, yeah, there's no way the Raiders are scoring 24. There's no way the Giants are scoring 21. Well, the Raiders have one of the worst defenses in the league. Although you do have Max Crosby, he could have a big day against whoever is playing quarterback back there, whether it's Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor. I have no clue. But I'm taking the Las Vegas Raiders in an upset, and I think this is considered an upset because even though both teams aren't good, I do think the Giants have a lot more talent. I think they have a very good defense. You're like, yeah, the Raiders are going to score 24 against a defense that's been great. But I do want to take a look at the matchup. I want to take a look at the situation. So teams that fire their head coaches, typically they play out of their minds next week. They play really well. And I can see that. On top of that, you're playing a young rookie quarterback who I like. I think kind of has some potential. You have Devontae Adams, who can get open against some young cornerbacks. I know Deonte Banks has been absolutely phenomenal, but now you're going up against Devontae Adams. This is going to be a whole different ball game. I know he's played some really good receivers in the beginning of the year. He's played Stephon Diggs. He's played Tyreek Hill. He's played some really good receivers. He's played CeeDee Lamb, and he did very good against them. And now you're playing Devontae Adams. I do think Devontae Adams is a whole different animal than those guys I just mentioned in his own respective way, and it could be a tough day for Deonte Banks. It could be a learning experience. If it's not, wow, Deonte Banks is looking really good. But I think this is just going to be one of those games where that young secondary struggles a little bit, where the Raiders are going to get the ball out quick. They're fighting hard because their head coach is gone, and that's the main reason why I'm taking the Raiders in this one. Now, I know that's not really a way to predict games, but I think the Raiders are going to be able to get some offense going. They're going to have a little bit of extra oof, and motivation in them to really win this football game because, it seems when teams fire the head coach, that's what usually happens. And, the Giants, if they could play good defense, if Deonte Banks has a good day, if they could really watch Devontae Adams, but then, you still also have two other good receivers. Jacoby Myers is really good. Then you have Hunter Renfrow, who's a decent wide receiver 3. I think, the matchup says the Giants. It says the Giants. And their defense line has been really good. And the Raiders' offense line isn't very good. They're probably not going to be able to run the ball well. But it's just going to be one of those games where, it's a team coming off of a head coach firing. They're going to be a little extra juiced up. And they're really going to want to get this win. So I'm taking the Raiders 24-21. I may end up changing this one, but I won't touch this game. But I'm taking the Raiders 24-21. Next up, the big one. The big one this weekend. I think this is the game of the week. You got the Philadelphia Eagles at home, Lincoln Financial Field, taking on the Dallas Cowboys. And whoever wins this game will take lead of the NFC East. Now, let's talk about both teams. That's what we're here to do, of course. Jalen Hurts has struggled. He's struggled so far this year. Let's be honest. He's turned the ball over a lot. The offensive line has struggled at points, and now you're playing, you're going to be playing Micah Parsons. You're going to be playing DeMarcus Lawrence. You're playing a really strong offensive line. Now, the Eagles may be able to run the ball pretty well on them up the middle. They could probably run the ball. We'll see. But if Jalen Hurts can limit those turnovers, and he can play like he can play a little better, the Eagles can absolutely win this one. But the reason why I'm taking the Cowboys is I trust the Cowboys offense more. Much more. That Eagles defense has shown to be, I think the Commanders kind of laid out the blueprint, like they kind of had last year. And I trust Dak Prescott more than Jalen Hurts. I know Dak Prescott throws a lot of interceptions, but you have to understand He's aggressive, and if he throws, I wouldn't be shocked if he throws two or more, two interceptions. I wouldn't be shocked if he doesn't throw any either, because he has some really good weapons, and the Eagles do have Kevin Byard. They did trade for him. He's a big playmaking receiver or safety. I could see him getting a turnover on Dak, or even just a defensive line making big plays. But when the Eagles play teams that have at least decent offensive lines, which which the Cowboys have a really good offensive line, they have a really good receiving core, they have really good running backs, they have a really good quarterback. The defense will struggle if they cannot get pressure. They will struggle. If they can't get pressure at an extremely high rate, they've struggled. And you're not going to be able to do that against the Cowboys. Now, where I could see the Eagles winning this one is if Dak Prescott does throw 2 interceptions, the Eagles just could run the football if the Cowboys can't stop the run. But Jalen Hurts is going to have to make that extra play. The defense is going to have to make that extra play if Jalen Hurts can't. I'm thinking the Cowboys 31-24. I think the Cowboys are playing like the much better football team right now. Now, I understand the Cowboys have lost a team like the Cardinals. They got blown up by the Niners. But I think this is a team that has learned from those games. I think this is a team that is going to continue to get better. And I think this is the step in the right direction. They're going to take. I'm saying they're going to take the lead in the NFC East this week. The Eagles are reeling. They're winning, yeah, but they're too inconsistent. They haven't been able to put a full game together. They haven't once this season. And if they do it against the Cowboys, wow, okay, nice. But now let's see you continue to do it every single week. I'm taking the Cowboys, 31-24 over Philly. All right, next up, Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills. A lot of emotional attachment to this game for a lot of people with the Damar Hamlin situation and all that, and rightfully so. But let's give a lot of props to the Bills training. Their training staff, everyone who was involved, and in the last couple of years here, they have had Damar Hamlin. That situation, without them, Damar Hamlin probably wouldn't be walking. He probably wouldn't be breathing. And Damian Harris, I think he just went through something big as well. And just props to this Bills training staff. Props to them, man. They deserve a shout out. But the Cincinnati Bengals, man, I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals because I think Joe Burrow has played out of his mind. He's played very good. He's healthy. They have really good weapons. And Josh Allen has shown that he's struggled at times this year. He's been inconsistent. And the Bengals are going to get after Josh Allen a little bit this game. They're going to stop the run. Josh Allen better be able to win this game. He better be able to win this game on his own. He might have to. He might have to put the game on his shoulders, which he can absolutely do without a doubt. But are you going to take the Bengals or the Bills in that situation? I'm going to take the Bengals. I'm going to take Joe Burrow over Josh Allen. I'm going to take Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase over Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. I'll take Chase. I'll take Boyd. I'll take T. Higgins, Irv Smith Jr., Joe Mixon. They're kind of getting better at running the football as well. This Bengals team has been very good. And they're going to continue their hot streak this week. They just beat a really good Niners team. The Niners are reeling, fine. But now they're playing a Bills team, who's been another very good football team. And I don't think the Bills are going to be able to come out with this one. This is a coin flip. It really is. But I could see Josh Allen committing that extra turnover too. That's the difference in this game. I'm taking the Bengals, 31-28, with the Buffalo Bills. Last but not least, the New York Jets and the Los Angeles Chargers. Chargers run defense. Let's just talk about that real quick. The Chargers run defense has gotten so much better since the beginning of the year and past years. And the Jets want to run the football. They want to run the football. I don't think they're going to be able to against I don't think they're going to be able to against the Chargers like they want to. And the way to beat the Chargers is, especially that defense, is you want to air the football out. The Jets can't really do that. They don't really want to do that. And on the other side, you have Justin Herbert, one of the better quarterbacks in the league. Keenan Allen, who's been awesome. Josh Palmer, I really like Josh Palmer. The offensive line is getting better. Run game is there. I just think that the Chargers have a little extra that the Jets will not be able to get with. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the Jets will score 14. It's kind of a throw up with Zach Wilson. It's throw up how much the Jets will score. You never know. but it's not going to be more than Chargers. That Chargers offense is going to make that extra play, and that's going to be the difference in this game. Taking the Los Angeles Chargers 20 or 14 over the New York Jets. So that's all I got for you guys today. That is my weekly prediction video for our week 9. That's all I got for you guys today. If you guys enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, put the post notification bell on so you're missing future videos. This is JDW Sports Talk Show. Signing off.